Confucius is the most famous philosopher from Asia and still has great influence on modern society and our values. Born in 551 BC in China, after his father's death he grew up in poverty with his mother. By 19 he got married, and by 20 would have his first child. Through all of this, Confucius rose through the political ranks of ancient China. He was appointed minister for crime and was very skilled in diplomacy, as he had no military authority to command. He held this office for only a few years. Because of struggles with hereditary powers, he resigned from the post and put himself into self-exile. The purpose of this exile was looking for rulers who might be willing to accept his influence and be guided by his vision of virtuous government. It was in vain. He was guided to believe that he could set things right in the world. The Zhou dynasty was entering its 500th year, and the political framework that held it together, a feudal system held and led with family ties, was beginning to give in. Confucius spoke and taught his disciples on his travels, and together they compiled the Analects. He died at 73 and never really got to see his teachings take off. Nowadays he has a national holiday, practically a religion, countless schools of thought, a foreign Chinese schooling program that does, and I quote, "is a way for Beijing to spread propaganda under the guise of teaching, interfere with free speech on campuses, and even to spy on students," and a lot more things in his name following his teachings. So yeah, dude was a legend.
Confucius' teachings played a huge part in the politics, education, ethics, and Chinese culture as a whole. Confucius believed in an ideology where people can benefit from a life of learning and moral outlook. What this means is Confucius stood for loyalty, knowledge, and the virtues of which he taught. Confucius left his mark on the world by his aphorisms. The most notable is the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule states, "Do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself." Someone may also see or interpret this quote as "treat others the way you want to be treated." This aphorism has appeared in many schools in different cultures. Confucius' ideas on education went against the gender and class notions at the time. He believed that every human being should be able to get an education, and according to him, education had no class distinction. Confucius' political philosophy was based on morality and that conflicts should be resolved through meditation and with the virtues loyalty, benevolence, affection, filial piety, trustworthiness, and righteousness are some of the virtues of Confucian ideology. Filial piety is a major part in Confucian ideology and is very important in Chinese culture even today. Filial piety emphasizes respecting elders and repaying the burden borne by one's parents.
Aphorisms. All of these quotes were taken directly from the Analects. First quote, "The good man does not grieve that other people do not recognize his merits. His only anxiety is lest he should fail to recognize theirs." This quote is very thought out. The meaning Confucius was trying to get across in this message was that whatever he considers a good man does not care that other people don't recognize his good deeds. A good man instead fears that he will not recognize other people's good works and doings. Second quote, "When you know a thing, to recognize that you know it, and when you do not know a thing, to recognize that you do not know it. That is knowledge." In this quote, Confucius is speaking on what to attain knowledge means. According to Confucius, having knowledge means to recognize when one knows much about a certain subject as well as recognizing when one doesn't know much or all about something. Third quote, "A gentleman can see a question from all sides without bias. The small man is biased and can see a question from one side only." Confucius in this aphorism is speaking of a small-minded man versus a gentleman or a large-minded man. He states how small-minded men only see a question from one certain perspective. On the other hand, a large-minded man or gentleman is able to see a question from all points and perspectives without being biased towards one side or another. Fourth quote, "In old days a man kept a hold on his words, fearing the disgrace that would ensue should he himself fail to keep pace with them." In this quote, Confucius speaks on older morals and what men used to do before this time. He states that men in the old days would not boast or speak about their goals or accomplishments, lest they do not live up to their bragging and boasting.